In July 2020, the UK government resumed its sales of arms to Saudi Arabia, despite a ruling last year which froze all British arms exports that could be used to supply the Saudi-led coalition in Yemen. The decision was made even though the UK government has intelligence that there is a high chance arms are being used in indiscriminate bombing campaigns against civilians. Arms trade campaigners had previously called the actions of the British government to resume arms trading as disgraceful and morally bankrupt, with Andy Smith of Campaign Against Arms Trade reiterating the point that the government itself admits that UK-made arms have played a central role in the Saudi-led coalition's bombing. Whilst the USA accounts for 61% of Saudi Arabia's total arms sales, with the Obama and Trump administrations notifying Congress of proposed deals with a potential aggregate value of more than $120 billion from 2009 to 2020, the UK government must take moral responsibility for being the Gulf Kingdom's second biggest supplier of arms. In the last 5 years, British defence contractor BAE Systems has sold over £15 billion worth of arms and services to Saudi Arabia. In 2017, The Independent uncovered that as a result of a 2014 contract worth £4.4 billion, where BAE supplied the Saudis with over 70 fighter jets, that these same fighter jets were subsequently used to bomb Red Cross and MSF hospitals in Yemen. The chairman of BAE Systems, Sir Roger Carr, has rejected criticism over his company's continued work in Saudi Arabia, saying that "We will stop doing it when they tell us to stop doing it. We maintain peace by having the ability to make war." The company's realist approach to international relations, the doctrine of peace through strength, that military power can preserve peace, ensures that BAE remains unapologetic for its dealings with Saudi Arabia. It is difficult for the UK government to claim to have a commitment to human rights, when for economic and geopolitical strategic reasons since 1915, it remains so diplomatically close to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. The United Nations, Amnesty International, and other nations of the international community have critiqued Saudi Arabia's sordid abuse of human rights, from beheadings for homosexuality, the vicious raid against Yemen, and the detainment of activists, to name a few. Saudi Arabia admits it places legal restrictions on freedom in order to protect public order and national security. However, this makes it difficult for the UK to then claim that its relationship with Saudi Arabia is dependent on shared values, as claimed by Jeremy Hunt when he was Foreign Secretary in 2018, when UK businesses are effectively profiteering off the death of civilians. In the British context, at the macro level of the nation state, the special relationship between the UK government and private arms companies has not been an electoral talking point since the end of the Cold War. Normatively and ethically, citizens need to make it one. This ensures that the wishes of the UK electorate are heard by the government louder and more authoritatively than the largely undemocratic voices of private industry. As of 2020, around 25% of the UK's defence budget is spent on private services. This is 5 times higher than in Germany, whilst being a little lower than the US, where 30% of the federal defence budget is spent on the private sector. The private sector's involvement in British defence and the dependency of the state to outsource responsibilities to private companies has resulted in the British state now being less a provider of defence and more a manager of it. Since the adoption of public-private partnerships, championed by John Major's Conservatives and then New Labour, a trend has been established where the private sector appears to be here to stay when it comes to arms manufactured to then be sold by the government to foreign regimes. Rather than seeing the proliferation of competition, we've instead seen power and responsibility over UK defence shift to a small group of powerful and largely unaccountable interests. Whilst the role of the private sector has increased when it comes to service provisions and the supplying of arms for the UK to sell abroad, the issue saliency of the private sector's role in UK defence has not. This needs to change in order for citizens to ensure that UK governments, irrespective of political colour, are held accountable for the contracts they sign with the private sector. Companies like BAE Systems indicate they have little moral concern with providing arms to be sold to Saudi Arabia because the profit margins are so lucrative. However, our democratically elected governments should be echoing the preferences of citizens and not those of unaccountable private interest. A YouGov poll for Save the Children and Avas, published in September 2018, found that 13% of the British public supported the sale of weapons to the Saudis, while 63% opposed them. It also indicated that less than 1 in 6 people, 14%, think that the UK's role in supporting the Saudi-led coalition reflects British values and interests. As there exists a powerful British military-industrial complex, closely resembling Eisenhower's description of the conjunction of an immense military establishment and a large arms industry, it becomes of paramount importance that transparency and accountability of government and industry to citizens is established to ensure British defence acts in the name and interest of the polity and the international community, and not of a small number of self-interested private companies.